everybody. Welcome to Spanish Announce Table Wrestling. I'm here today, Mr. Lucas Chappell, on the 1st of April, April Fools. It's starting to feel a little bit more like Wrestlemania season.
Hold on. Is it April Fool's Day today?
Well, we're going to be broadcast on April Fool's Day because it's pre-recorded.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good point, actually, there, Dennis. We're recording a day in advance because obviously everything that's going on in the world, we can't make it to the studio, so we are doing this from the comfort of our own homes.
What's happening?
Yesterday. This is also going to be recorded as well to be put on our social media pages as a video of us all talking on YouTube and Facebook. So yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit more WrestleMania-y. Dennis, how have you been, my friend?
It's good to do with you.
Just welcoming you onto the show. It's been a little while. It's been how many weeks now? It's been too long.
I don't know. I don't sit there count the weeks since the last time I saw you. Move on.
Oh, well, every day I count the days down until I get to see you again.
Oh, lovely. Move on.
James, likewise, it's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been. It really has. It's been about 6 months since I was on the show, if not longer.
It's been that long.
Yeah. I feel more like a guest now.
Oh my god, I didn't realise it had been that long. That's a long time been out yet. How have you been keeping? Okay?
Yeah, good. Keeping good. Haven't been out much, but I don't think anyone has, so it's kind of climbing up the wall.
You've quit smoking because of everything that's been going on.
Yeah, I'm on like 1 cigarette a day now. It's good.
Awesome. Nice one, dude. And Ken, it's good to have you back again, dude. Regular on the show now as a regular host, which is awesome to see you join the team. How's everything? Are you enjoying quarantine? What's new?
I'm not enjoying quarantine. I've put a bit of weight on, but I'm keeping up my workout routine. Just getting by, really. Daily walk. Only time I get outside. Apart from that, I'm good. It's all right. It is starting to feel a bit more like WrestleMania.
It is, isn't it? Just and
weirdly looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am. It's morbid curiosity, though, isn't it? Rather than the usual genuine looking forward.
Yeah, I think I'm more looking forward to the 2-day concept rather than the see how that goes.
I liked it for Wrestle Kingdom, so I guess it could work with WWE, because if they haven't changed it because of the virus, they changed it because it was too big for one day. Obviously, that's the reason why the venue's changed. Obviously, or so they say. We also want to welcome on the Invisible Man, the voice from beyond. Damo, how you doing?
Aye, not so bad, guys. Just plodding along and looking forward to this weekend, seeing what bizarre spectacle that Vinnie Mac's Florida Roadshow has for us.
Sorry, who's that speaking now?
Damien.
Who?
Damien Stone, regular host of the show. You've met him numerous times.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Not ringing any bells there, Dennis?
No.
I mean,
Should it?
Sorry, Damien, before you were rudely cut off there. What were you saying there, my friend?
I was just wondering why we have an MP on the program. I mean, I know that particular company down in London had their MP on. That was Peterborough, sorry, that had their MP as part of the show just after the election. But I wasn't expecting it to happen up here in the northeast.
Yes, Spanish Announce Table's resident MP.
Yeah.
Who, me?
The voice of the people.
Hold on, what the bloody hell's happening with my camera here? 2 seconds. There we go. And hold on, Kendall. You're part of the Donovan dynasty here, aren't you? Or has this been forgotten?
No, I am.
Don't
I
forget,
am part of the...
yes, and I'll pay your wages. So none of this MP rubbish, right?
Not tonight. Tonight.
Not tonight
I am
or any night.
Exclusively part of Spanish Announce Table as a host.
Well, then we'll remember that. Won't we?
When we broadcast every Wednesday night. Well,
That's
hopefully
it.
every Wednesday night as a regular.
And you two brought up a good point. Is there a space for politics in wrestling?
No.
Depends
There's as
what
much a
kind
place
of
of politics
politics.
in wrestling as there is for women. None.
What about yourself? What do you think? Politics and wrestling, do they mix? Do they clash?
Nope. Like women in politics, women in wrestling, they don't mix.
No, yeah. Politics and wrestling don't really mix. Every wrestler, manager, announcer, referee's brought in to do a job. You do what the promoter asks you to do. Simple as that is the way it goes. Promoter comes to you and goes, "I want you to do this tonight." That's your job.
So,
That's
say
the
for example, a promoter had a wild, crazy idea for, I don't know, just thinking the craziest thing I can think of, wanting you to be the nephew or something of Margaret Thatcher. Would you do that? I mean, obviously nobody in the right mind would come up with that kind of a suggestion, but would you do
Ludicrous,
that?
isn't it? Really.
Absolutely bloody ridiculous.
It is a
But
bit
would you do it?
ridiculous. As far as characters and gimmicks go, I go into a company with my own character, and then once I'm there, then it's as far as matches go, they can tell me what to do. No, I wouldn't do that personally.
Good to hear. Very good to hear.
But
I mean, there is a fella that does carry a sort of very overtly Margaret Thatcher related gimmick that usually works Scotland, but he did do a couple of. I think, in fact, I say a couple. There were only a couple of shows for the short-lived Darlington Wrestling Alliance, which is no longer active for various reasons. But the fellow was called Thatcher Wright.
What the hell's happening with my camera?
I've had a match against Thatcher Wright before. I think.
How did that one go?
Well, now I'm not sure whether I've got him confused with another guy, because I did once have a match against a guy who came out with a Margaret Thatcher book.
Yeah,
he did dress as a conservator.
That'll be
I think it was him.
I
think it was him.
The sort of Union Jack waistcoat type dealie on the go on the
yeah, I think it was him.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I'm going to look really bad now, aren't I? So, Dennis, how are you doing anyway? How's your other associates?
My other very well, you're one of them. Even though you're pretending not to be tonight for some reason, talking about characters and things. What are you talking about? Characters? It's wrestling. It's real. I don't understand half the gibberish that's coming out of your mouth tonight. I can only assume you've got something a bit dodgy in that Greg's cup that you keep lifting your mouth. But
it's coffee.
But no, my other. Oh, is it no? I've heard the stories about you. Anyway, no, my other associates are doing well. Mr. Tim Strange doing fine, and of course the Beast, Louis Hanlon, top of the world. I mean, well, of course we're all suffering from coronavirus or something, whatever it's called at the moment, but well, everybody's doing as well as they can be under the circumstances, and obviously nobody in the Donovan dynasty is going to catch coronavirus. I mean, maybe you. I mean, because you don't. Well, no. I'm not being unkind here, Kendall. But you know, I'm not entirely. What the bloody hell's happening with this camera? 2 seconds. I'm not entirely sure that you have been to Greg's today. Put it that way. You do look a little bit inebriated there.
No, I'm totally fine. I've got a bit of a cough, so I might have corona actually.
Well, I've got a bit of a temperature, a dry cough, and trouble breathing. But apart from that, I'm top of the world.
Just the three.
Just the three.
Just 3 things.
So, on about Mania this year, and with it being 2 days, I've found in the past, and I don't know whether you guys will agree, that Vince and WWE have always seemed to pull it out of the bag and put on something spectacular when the back's up against the wall.
100%. This is what I was saying before, Liam. 100%. When the chips are down, when the back's against the wall, they pull something brilliant out of the bag. It's when they rest easy on their laurels that WWE becomes mundane, childish, run-of-the-mill, repetitive, predictable. When their back's up against the wall and it looks like the chips are down, they always put a blinder out the bag. They always have. I think this WrestleMania has the recipe to be one of the best ones. On those grounds. Obviously, there are other reasons why it could be a disaster. and we'll address that later. But yeah, backs up against the wall, they tend to pull something really, really unusual out the bag, but unusual in a good way.
I mean, it's like when you're in a situation like this, where you've got a lot of the roster unavailable for one reason or another, or things are changing very much last minute. It's normally very sort of telling on how well a company's organised, sort of how well they pull something together in these circumstances. I mean, I don't know if you ever. I mean, I know it's obviously just over 20 years ago now, but there was a situation where basically the week before a WCW pay-per-view sold out, where pretty much everything went absolutely pear-shaped in that last week up to the main event. I mean, that's in that 1 week, Goldberg lacerated his arm on the limo limo sort of window thing by trying to punch it out. Bret Hart was out with a concussion. There was all manner of other injuries there that sort of led this whole thing to basically the entire card seemed to have to be reworked in it, and it turned out absolutely chaotic. It was a shame really, because I mean I thought what they had pulled together could have been quite entertaining, but it had been left to it basically hadn't been properly executed, if you know what I mean. That Dean Malenko match that started off kind of set the tone for the night, when the rules stated that if you exited the ring, then the match was over, and he rolled out to the floor to take a breather about 30 odd seconds in. Then they just sort of left it with an awkward silence and a referee going, "No, well, done. It's gone." But I mean, hopefully this is going to be somewhat better than that, and we're not going to get the random cameo from a non-booked import from somewhere else, like Masachono, who turned up and cut a promo without even being part of the show for some reason. Sorry.
Do you remember when WCW brought in James Brown and didn't advertise he was going to be there?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they could have capitalized on that something fierce, you know. I mean, it's James Brown. He's he's going to pull ratings in from everywhere. People are going to buy shows just to see James Brown perform, and they bring him out without any fanfare whatsoever, not telling anyone he's going to be there, and
Right, is that everything so far? And obviously, we're recording this before SmackDown, and indeed before NXT this week. 205 Live, but not much ever happens on that. And NXT UK, so we've got a few shows WWE that are yet to happen this week. Out of the 16 matches that have been announced so far, and I assume this is all of them, I want to know some things that you guys are looking forward to, and also some things that you guys are not looking forward to. Do you want to start with you, Kendall?
What was that, sorry? What am I looking forward to?
Yeah, some things for Mania that you're looking forward to, but then also some things that you're not looking forward to on Mania. I
think this falls into both categories. Is the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match are set to be filmed, according to sources, as like a big cinematic feel. A bit like what the Final Deletion was, and I think that would be really good, because those matches it'll certainly add something to. But at the same time, we know WWE in the past who sometimes went overboard with those, so they could potentially take that a step too far.
Yeah. Remember when they had the Wyatt family versus the New Day on the compound?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then every match I'm looking forward to. But then there's some decisions where obviously Andrade has had to drop out because of injury, and they've replaced him with Austin Theory, which to me doesn't make sense, because he's just sort of
Ricochet. Ricochet was the obvious choice. I mean, he's a heel though. He's a baby, isn't he? So yeah. Okay.
It's but then even on the main roster they had other options that sort of made a lot more sense.
Eric Young.
Yeah, and then we have potentially Braun Strowman if the dirt sheets are to believe replacing Reigns, and I just think that match personally will be slow, and Strowman's record going for Universal titles or top titles hasn't been good, so I'm predicting a Goldberg win on that one, which I'm not really looking forward to.
I think we're still going to get Goldberg Reigns in summer, so they either keep it on Goldberg for longer and have Reigns beat Goldberg for it in summer, and then obviously Reigns beats Strowman now, or you have Strowman beat Goldberg, Reigns beats Strowman, and then they have the match later down the line. But, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that match either, to be honest.
No, neither am I. I think as well, though, with it being over 2 days and TakeOver being cancelled or delayed, they could have had like the 2 main matches from TakeOver on Mania. So like the Gargano.
Was it Gargano? But they were like, "Oh, you're going to have your match on the biggest stage," and they were like, "No, we don't want that. We just want to fight when we're ready." So they sort of Triple H did they were going to do that, and then obviously they took it in a different direction. But I
still think they might show up, just a surprise. I just think they might show up.
They've already got like a no hold, like a last standing match, and I think Falls Count Anywhere match, whatever it's going to be, I think it's going to be too much of that outside of the ring, all over the place. So I think they want to limit the amount of that.
Also, I'm not sure whether it's on because I haven't seen it mentioned, and I know people are quick to slate it and throw it under the bus. But I think in recent years it's added something that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale I'm going to miss slightly.
This year they're not doing the Battle Royals this year, just because there's a lot of people touching each other in a small area. So what they're doing is, and the reason why they're splitting it over 2 days as well is so there's not lots of people around each other. So unfortunately, this year, by the looks of it, they're just going to not do one and save it for next year. It's a bit of a shame, but...
the same with the ladder match as well. They usually have like a 7-man ladder match at Mania, and that's always been good. But obviously they're not doing that, are they?
They do actually have a 6-man ladder match on this year's WrestleMania, but it's probably not going to happen because Miz is quarantined away from everyone. So it's
unless
Miz. Sorry,
I was going to say unless with it being pre-recorded, it's already
maybe they filmed this before they found out Miz was ill. Maybe it was after, and they've had to switch it up and change it. Who knows? But the match.
Is there not a chance that's what happened? That's what's happened with Reigns as well.
I think he's already come out and said, "I'm not going to be there."
I don't think the website said anything about that yet. Reigns not appearing.
Ryan Satin said it. Who works for the WWE, but also Reigns has posted it on his official, WWE approved Instagram page. Saying,
it's just strange that it's not been mentioned. That's all.
Really strange. And do you know what? They were even advertising it on Raw last night, and saying it's not going to happen. So they've obviously. It's sort of false advertising, but they're going to have to do something on SmackDown. But that's the day before the show.
But it's like I said, they could have easily pre-recorded it when he voiced his concerns, and then they just show it on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
that could be the shock.
Unless they've sort of found some kind of segment that sort of writes them out of the event, I don't know, something where there's like some kind of altercation and they both get banned from the building for so many days or something, just to take them out of the. Yeah.
I mean, that would be that was my first go-to thing, is to do like an angle. But Reigns has already stated on his social media, "I'm not going to be there because of coronavirus."
Yeah.
So I think they might as well just roll with that. Maybe, but. Then again, he'd actually said that before last week's SmackDown too. So who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah.
What about yourself, James? What are you looking forward to, and what are you're not looking forward to?
I don't know. Usually WrestleMania, I'm really excited, but for obvious reasons, I'm a little bit skeptical. I don't know what it's going to be like. I just, kind of even if it had went ahead as normal, I don't think Reigns Goldberg is the right way to go with it at all.
I agree. I think it's a great match to have on the card, but not your type of championship match. The championship match should have been Fiend Cena. That's such an obvious story. John Cena and the Fiend chasing for the 17th world title, or the 18th, whatever it would be. Yeah, 17th. And now
Against the undefeated Fiend. Yeah.
So,
that would have been much better.
What are you looking forward to, James?
So probably Edge Orton.
Yeah.
Because I love Edge, and Orton's always solid. He's amazing as well. So it's kind of two of my wrestling idols facing each other, and it'll be good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Dennis Donovan, what about yourself? What's caught your eye? What are you turning your nose about? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what I'm turning my nose up at. There's a few matches on the card which I don't particularly think should be there. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair being one of them. I just think that's going to be atrocious. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, I think it's going to be horrendous. No need for that team to be on the card. And then, of course, you've got Bayley versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi versus Sasha Banks versus Tamina. What is the bloody point in that? And the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Other than that, a solid card.
Once again, you're sort of shying away from the ladies and not wanting the women's matches on the card. Is that correct, Dennis?
Yes, that is correct.
Suspected as much. I thought that was the case. And what about yourself? What caught your eye? What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the return of one of my favourite ever sort of cameo characters, the ghost tractor from the final deletion thing. Like from when they did the match on the Hardy compound. I'm expecting that ghost tractor to somehow turn up in the House of Fun.
Like the reincarnation with cameo people come in and.
Yeah, I'm sort of just looking forward to seeing the overall production. It's like it's an absolutely unique situation, and anything that they can do is, they've got a completely different sandbox to play in, and. Yeah. I really want to see how they're going to go about this and present this, because they've got a lot. Whereas they've got a lot of things that are missing, obviously, sort of crowd reactions, crowd feedback, and all the and the rest of it. They've also got a lot more opportunities there, because what they've essentially got is a few days to film a sort of cinematic and semi wrestling program, and they could go all out with it. You know what I mean? They could go absolutely. They could just basically take it to its fullest potential.
Well, they already have sort of with Drew McIntyre posted a promo for his training against Lesnar, and that's gone full cinematic.
Oh, it's amazing. That's
gone.
A good promo. Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. If they've gone with that just for a 3-minute promo video to promote a match, imagine how far they can go with the matches itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking.
That's true. This must have been filmed a long time ago, though, because it's in Scotland.
Yeah. So unless they're just saying it's in Scotland.
Could look like Scotland, though.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a prediction now in the Firefly Funhouse match. I think we're going to see interference from Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt's real life brother, and it's going to get Bo back on TV and set something up there. Okay. And we might see, if that doesn't happen, we might actually see Sister Abigail as a person.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
That's a good one.
Not just Bray in a veil.
Not just Bray exactly.
I mean that's one thing. I would have thought that if you had no knowledge of the two brothers, Bo and Bray, right, and you just showed someone a picture of them side by side, it's like you wouldn't think that Bray would be the one that was like the top flight wrestling star. It's kind of odd, like for a complete outsider, but it's sort of odd how that worked out. Cause, I mean, Bo is fantastic as a wrestler, and he has been somewhat sort of misused and buried on the main card.
He is young enough to bounce back and still have a good career.
Exactly. I mean, this whole sort of image of them going like basically starting sort of feuding against each other over the back when the Wyatt family was still a full thing. This sort of whole thing planned out when I did a little bit of sort of fantasy booking on it, where it was like essentially Bray's Bo trying to bring Bray back to back to his real family, and like Bray basically like stealing the Blackjack Mulligan glove thing off Bo's hand, and sort of using and sort of working something out around that. But
Florida Championship Wrestling, he used to wear that glove, didn't he?
Yeah.
Over his hand, Dallas, like his granddad. I think that you can really go. You can. I mean, he's Blackjack Mulligan's grandson. He's a total package in a way. He can talk, he can go, he's got the look. Bo Dallas, they're on this guy. I could see Bo Dallas, being in that United States Championship picture, being a regular on TV. I don't know what they're doing with him, but creative have nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I'll never get that. I'll never get my head around that term. Creative have nothing for you, but it's like either hire some new creative. It's like, I mean, you've got someone who, it's like they've got the full package, and they're going to be an asset to your company, and so then like a series of people in suits can't think of an idea for them, and hire.
But they've got their favourites. They've got their favourites though, don't they? They have people who they just concentrate on ideas for, and if you're not in that little circle, they're like, "No, we've got nothing for you."
Aye.
Yeah, very good point. What I want to do, I want to go through the card. Now, it's quite a long one, so I want to spend less time on, obviously, the starting matches, so we can sink our teeth into things like Cena and Bray and things like that. I'll just quickly run through a few. Obviously, it's starting off Otis Stodovic versus Dolph Ziggler with Mandy Rose in his corner. What are we thinking about this, guys?
I just don't like romance angles in wrestling.
Okay.
That's always been a thing.
The heartstrings aren't going for Otis then?
No. Genuinely, I can see Mandy turning on Ziggler.
Yeah.
And finally going with Otis. But are Ziggler and Mandy like a real life couple?
Apparently so. I mean, she was with Tito Sabatelli for a long time, but by the looks of social media, unless this is a really good work, which I don't think either of them are capable of at the minute, it looks like they're a real life couple. Personally, I'm quite invested in this storyline. I'm really into the Otis character. I think it's just going to be another throwaway opener match, but it should be a bit of fun.
I think Otis is over. I think Mandy will turn on Ziggler, potentially.
I think
if Ziggler goes over, it's too obvious.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think this is the one match that would have benefited the most from the crowd being there. Yeah. Because obviously, it's his whole comedy shtick, placating to the audience, everyone feeling sorry for him. It's that whole romance angle. It's emotional investment. That would have worked so much better with people. But I guess that's why it is what it is. I'm going to move quickly on to the next match now. Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the women's tag titles. We've already got Dennis's opinion on the 4 participants. Liam, James, what are you thinking about this tag match for the championship?
I like Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I really do. I think they're a good team together. Weirdly enough, they've actually done okay with Nikki Cross as well. I thought they were just going to push her to the side like they do all the other NXT people, but they've actually made her work, which is really good.
Yeah. If you compare her now to when she first came onto the roster, she's really developed as her own little character now. She's got more of that mad craziness about her. Because when she first got called up, they just completely flattened her out, and now we're starting to see more of that mad crazy Nikki Cross that we know and love from NXT. So
Yeah.
again, if it's got Kairi Sane in it, it's going to be a good match. So I'm
I
looking forward
think
to it.
I think all 4 of those women deserve singles pushes because they're all really talented
They are,
individually.
Agreed.
You're out of the Donovan dynasty.
Thank you.
But
Do you know
on-
what though? With it being a pirate theme in Tampa Bay that was planned, it really should have been Kairi Sane versus Asuka for the women's championship. Really, shouldn't it? You know, with the whole pirate theme for Kairi Sane. So I think they really dropped the ball because to me, Asuka and Kairi Sane, 2 of the best single stars in WWE. Why they're in a tag team? Obviously, yeah, I know they're tag champions, but those 2 you could build divisions around. So to see them this far down the card is a bit of a shame. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross as well, all 4, like you said. You could build the whole women's division around those 4 women.
I mean, the other night when the other night when they had Nikki Cross on commentary, it was certainly an experience, and the only thing I came away from it thinking was, I'm assuming Vince McMahon's finally got around to watching the episode of South Park where they introduced Tweak. Just the sort of hyperactivity and like over caffeinated sort of like mannerisms of Nikki Cross. I mean, it was great to see them coming through and showing her actual like a bit of a sort of personality.
There's a lot of personality she's got as well.
Oh yeah.
The next the next match on the card is one that is almost a dream match for some people. It's Sami Zayn with Cesaro and Nakamura in his corner versus Daniel Bryan with Drew Gulak in his corner. Now, for me, those guys should all be in showcase matches. Why we're not getting a Nakamura match, why we're not getting a Cesaro match, it's a shame. But this match on paper could be fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that Sami Zayn's got a match because I know obviously he's been cleared for a while, but they liked him in his managerial role. I'm looking forward to it, but unfortunately I can't see it being a long match, and I'm still saying it's going to set up an intercontinental title feud between Gulak and Bryan because I can't see. I can't see that team lasting very long. But I don't know because they might have to change things if rumours are to be believed and Bryan's gone into isolation.
This is true. This is very true. I think, I mean, I would like to see this match go 25 minutes, personally. Do an NXT style, Ring of Honor style match. It could do. I mean, yeah. This could be match of the night. It could be match of the weekend, if they let it be. Or it could be a 5-minute throwaway match. So it really does depend on where WWE go with it. What do you think, Damien?
I'm just thinking there, as you say, if Daniel Bryan has gone into isolation before this match is taking place, and if we get Drew Gulak subbing in, then there's potential that, you know, and I don't know if I don't know if this sort of three-man team of Zayn, Nakamura, and Cesaro are going to try and pull the old Freebird rule with a singles title or something, you know, and just like if and like pull something like, well, if the scheduled opponent isn't there, then neither am I. Then we get Drew Gulak versus Cesaro or something like that, which, I mean, again, that could be an absolute classic.
Yep. I think they wrestled on SmackDown last week, didn't they? I know it was Nakamura and Gulak, wasn't it? But yes, yeah. Cesaro and Gulak. Lovely. All SmackDown's best wrestlers, in my opinion, are in this little IC feud right now.
When you look at the team of Cesaro, Nakamura, and Zayn, it's just such a thrown together team that it's just such a mixed match, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like WWE didn't know what to do with them as single stars, isn't it? I'll move on to the next match because this is the one I'm least looking forward to. I'm kind of dreading Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley involvement in this. It's Elias versus King Corbin. It's still being advertised despite Elias being pretty much murdered on TV last week on SmackDown. I am not looking forward to this just because I'm not invested in the story building up to it because it involves the Gronk, who I am not invested in. What are you guys thinking?
I think Elias deserves so much more. He's like so talented. Like,
I love Elias.
I'm really big on Elias, and I saw him live at WWE Live, but in Newcastle, and I'm like so high on him. But I'm not invested in this at all.
No, it's a shame really because I think people don't like Baron Corbin. The reason they don't like him is because he's a good heel. You're not meant to like him. Ding ding, that's the point.
Yeah.
Same thing, Elias deserves more. These two could have a great match with a brilliant heel and face dynamic that could, I was going to say, steal the show. The problem is, nobody cares. They've not got any reason to get involved. I think this would have benefited from the crowd being there because Corbin is such a heel, placating to the crowd. You've got the heel and face dynamic. That could have really got the crowd behind him as built heat with the audience, which would have translated well on telly. Without the audience there and without that heat, it might fall a little bit flat with the bad storyline coming into it. Obviously, they did a big whoa moment where they pretty much destroyed Elias on TV, throwing him off the balcony last week.
Yeah.
That's all well and good, but if he's going to be fighting back on his feet, ready to wrestle, then was that for nothing, or is that the avenue to get the Gronk to come in and act like an idiot?
We're practicing that move for WrestleMania because it's clearly been cut, hasn't it? So that could be camera techniques and things that they're trying out to make it look a lot worse than it actually was.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. It's all trick of the camera, isn't it? Trick of the eye.
Yeah, so that would be them testing on Elias what they're looking to do in other matches at WrestleMania.
That's a good way of looking at it now. Do they want to then do the same stunt though twice in a couple of weeks?
Maybe not exactly the same, but similar. They did it last WrestleMania with McMahon and
Miz.
I can't remember who it was with. Was it not the Miz?
Miz.
Yeah.
Threw them off the thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Speaking of a bad build to a match, is a match I'm oddly looking forward to, and I don't know why. Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. There's been next to no build to this. They've announced it on the TV show is going to be a special attraction marquee match between two big stars of Raw. They've mentioned it on social media, but the two wrestlers haven't had like a face-to-face meeting, so there's no heat between the two of them. This is literally a match. I
think I can shed a bit of light to that as well, because with the whole lockdown isolation, with the US before the lockdown and cancelled all flights, anyone who'd come back from a foreign country had to quarantine for a certain amount of time, as like standard. So obviously Lashley's come back from South Africa, and he's had to quarantine straight away. So that's possibly why we haven't got any build.
Must be that. Yeah, you're right. You're right in saying he has just come back from South Africa, so that's the only reason, really. But they could have had Aleister Black cut a promo on him. Anything. They could have had him post on his Instagram account these days. Anything, and they haven't done it. I like both wrestlers. I'm invested in both wrestlers, so I'm looking forward to it. But this really probably should have been Rusev versus Bobby Lashley, really, with all the story.
Yeah.
But, hey ho, I guess the creative haven't got anything for you, Rusev. So,
that's just because he's refusing to sign a contract, isn't it?
Yeah, cool.
The creative might have something for him, but they're being told to keep it in a locked drawer until pen meets paper.
That's it. Are you looking forward to this match, Dennis?
Which match?
It's obviously not listening.
Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a good match.
What about if Lana's in Lashley's corner?
She's
that's where they belong, though, isn't it? Either in a corner as a valet or as a, back in the old boxing days, why not, like scantily clad with cards and things like that? Why have them wrestle?
I think what we need to do is find a women's match that Dennis likes to win him over. There's got to be one out there.
It doesn't exist.
I'll
it couldn't exist.
I'll dig up my old 90s Gaia Japan videos. There's got to be something on there like a Lioness Asuka and Aja Kong or something, you know. That,
Hold on, what the hell's happening here? Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you expecting someone, Dennis? Are you expecting someone? You keep switching to the door. Are you
I'm not
expecting someone to
expecting
walk
anybody.
through that door?
Like, who would walk through the door?
I don't know.
Well, they don't have to. Who?
Tim Strange.
Well, why would he walk through my door in my house? We don't live together. We're not a bit, funny or anything.
Associates.
Guys, what are we thinking about?
Hold on a second. What are you trying to imply?
That you're his manager, so he might come round and see you.
Well, Kendall, do you ever come round and see me? I'm your manager.
Not often.
No, and I wouldn't have that either. I don't want to be pestered. Thank you very much. So, no.
I was going to make a really bad 80s music joke there, but...
Go on. Go on, then.
No, it was just when James said associates there, I was thinking, there's discussion of someone coming into the same frame as someone else. And I was going to say, party fears too, but it's
I don't think Kendall's the only one that's been drinking tonight.
I haven't been drinking.
Have you still got your Greg's cup there?
Yeah.
Right, as your manager, I command you to show the contents of that to the camera.
Command. Look at
And you know what the terms of your contract states?
Look at
your
me.
refill. Right, let's have a look at the bottom of it.
I can't.
You can't. Or you won't.
It's got
Because
coffee.
you know that you're breaching your contract, don't you? By drinking. I knew
Right, anyway,
I was taking on when I... Oh.
What are we thinking of the Raw Tag Team title match this weekend? Because obviously the Street Profits are the tag champions, and it was going to be Angel Garza and Andrade. But as you said earlier, Andrade's out with a rib injury, and he's been replaced by Austin Theory. What are we thinking about this weird dynamic going into this match?
I love Austin Theory. It doesn't make sense to me. There's so many other guys they could have put in. That's all I have to say on that. I'm not really invested in the Street Profits either.
Yeah.
You're not.
So it's a match. It's a match I can leave, really.
Oh, right, interesting.
I mean,
Who would you have picked to replace Andrade?
Well, nobody in particular, but I'm just thinking like on the main roster and even NXT. There's so many like more like highly built heels they could have. Because obviously when Andrade was suspended for 30 days, they brought in Angel Garza as Zelina Vega's new like business partner kind of thing, and that made sense. That works. But then they've just sort of been like, oh, Andrade is injured, right? We'll get Austin Theory.
Whenever Andrade has a problem, they bring someone else in. I think like Punishment Martinez, what's his name? Damien Priest. He's Latino. He could have maybe fit in just for one night, maybe. Who knows? Raul Mendoza, what's he doing these days? There's a few guys that could have jumped on there. I'm really into Montez Ford. I think he is tons of sports entertainment. I think every match he's had, I've been really into. I think this could be a good match to watch, even if you're not invested in the story. I think guys can put on a clinic. What do you think, Damien?
I was just on thinking about the alternate that they've chosen, the Austin Theory. I mean, there's certain things that they could have pulled out of this. I mean, this is where an actual sort of on-screen authority figure would have been able to kind of help this along a little bit. They could have potentially brought even basically forced Angel Garza to tag up with Humberto Carrillo, or in quotation marks one of the Lucha House Party who unmasks himself as Humberto Carrillo and turns on Angel Garza halfway through the match or something. They could have went down that alley with it. They could have there's a lot of things that they could have potentially done, but they've just picked Austin Theory up for no good reason, and if he's not ready for it and the dynamic's not there, then it could be a while before we see him in main roster again, because the only exposure that the main roster's audience is going to have to him is in this awful dynamic sort of match where it's got more potential to do harm than good.
He was out of position on Raw this week when Montez Ford did that massive front flip out the ring. Austin Theory was still on his knees, and you could hear that noise. Wasn't good. So I don't know. I would personally say Austin Theory is got a wealth. He's only 22, but he's got a wealth of experience and evolve. I would say he should be able to put on a great match at WrestleMania. But on this week on Raw, with him dropping Montez Ford, it doesn't look good. And like Liam said earlier, there's plenty of guys that have worked their way up to earning a shot to be on WrestleMania. For this guy to just come in, overtake everybody, I don't know if that's going to ruffle a few feathers. People that have been working day in and day out, every day, and then you've got this guy just comes in from NXT, he's been there for a cup of coffee, and you're going to be on WrestleMania.
He hasn't been signed overly long either, as well. No. So,
what do we think of the SmackDown tag? Obviously, it's Miz and Morrison against the New Day against the Usos in a triple threat ladder. But like Kendall mentioned earlier, there's this caveat of the Miz coming in sick, flu-like symptoms. He's been quarantined. He's the reason why Roman Reigns decided he's going to take a step back. People aren't happy with him, including the Usos, for that reason. Because obviously Roman Reigns being a leukemia survivor and having elderly family members, he's at risk. So Miz apparently has been taken out of the situation. But do we know, was that before this match was taped, or was it after? Are we going to get the ladder match? Are we going to get some weird match without the Miz? What's going to happen? What do you think,
Liam? Well, obviously, I think if it was recorded beforehand, for me, I think Miz and Morrison retain. I'm a fan of those two together. I'm glad when Morrison came back, they tagged him up with Miz. I was quite enjoying that because at that point was a bit lost, in my opinion. If it hasn't been recorded, I think they'll drop Morrison from the card and just make it a number one contender tag match, still keep the ladder match, but have a contract for the title match up on the ladder.
Have another team in there, dude.
Yeah, that's a good idea, James. James, what are your feelings on this match?
The same, really. They can't have a title match without the Miz, so if he's not there, then it's pointless having Morrison and somebody else random, because they've already done that with the Raw one. So, yeah,
definitely.
Keep it the way it is, and obviously if they haven't filmed it already, then add in a new team and make it a triple threat number one contenders ladder match.
Yeah, I'm into that. One match that I really couldn't care less about, that I'm suddenly really invested in because of the amazing promo work. And the promos have been so good because the audience wasn't there. They've been able to get into it and it's been quiet. It's almost like the delivery has almost been soap opera, drama, because of the lack of crowd. It's got me really into it. It's Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins.
Well, that's nice. So you're not going to ask my opinion about the tag match, are you not?
Dennis, what was your opinion on the tag match?
You're obviously not that bothered, are you? So, no, let's talk about Kevin Owens. No. Talk about what you want, mate. Do you know what? You invite me on here. No, listen, you invite me on here. Get me on, they just ignore us. The whole damn show. Bloody sick of it now.
Reason being is we have just a fair few matches to get through, and you did look a little bit bored when you were sat there, twiddling your thumb, picking your nose. So I just thought I'd scoot on.
Not once pick my nose. Not once have I picked my nose.
Well, I saw you pick it and lick it a minute ago. But obviously, we want you to have the opportunity to sink your teeth into the big matches to talk about. That's just why I'm scooting through these undercard matches a little bit quicker than I would do normally.
Absolute
Guys, what are we thinking of Rollins and Owens?
Oh, for God's sake, what's happening?
We'll start with you.
What?
Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. What are we thinking about this match, this feud?
I don't know.
You into
I don't know. What?
You're not sure. What about Damien? What are you feeling about Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens?
It's one that definitely has caught me attention the last few weeks. I mean, like you say, the promos that they've cut together have been really good, and it's like they've taken the advantage of the space that they've had without the audience, as well, which it's sort of added an extra sort of dramatic edge to it.
This feud really helps with there being no crowd. In my opinion, I like I was saying before, no crowd is better than a bad crowd, and a bad crowd could have killed this feud for me. But the promo was great. James, what do you feel about this match? Rollins and Owens?
Yeah, definitely. I am a fan of both, but I don't know. It's like you said, the way it's kind of been put together. It's not. I wouldn't say it was a normal feud. It's a little bit soap opera, and it kind of, yeah. I don't know. It's probably the crowd. To be fair, because I think the crowd would be behind Owens rather than Rollins for once. It would have been good to see.
That's a good point. I'm with you on that. Liam, what are your thoughts on this match?
I'm quite looking forward to it. I'm a fan of them both, but I think it will just be those because obviously Buddy Murphy hasn't been seen for a few weeks. I don't know whether that's because he's quarantined himself or whether he's injured, and then one of the Authors of Pain is injured, so they won't be there either.
This whole little team of
so they've had to, and I think it's because of the injuries to his team that they've had to take this soap opera approach, which actually I think works for Rollins' new character. So I think this match could fly under the radar and it could steal a show potentially because they're both insanely talented guys.
Yeah, Kevin Steen versus Tyler Black, isn't it? You know, it's Owens and Rollins. This could quite easily steal the show. There's no reason why it couldn't.
Yeah,
I'm going to move on to the next match. It's the 5-way elimination: Bayley, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina. What do we think about this? Obviously, we've had your opinion, Dennis, on this one already. James, what do you think about this match?
Which match? Sorry.
It's the women's elimination: Bayley, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, Tamina.
I haven't really seen much about that one, to be honest. I've seen the bit where Tamina came back last SmackDown and kind of annihilated everyone apart from Sasha and Bayley. But I don't know. I think Sasha's gonna screw Bayley over somehow. I reckon.
It's going to lead to the title.
Oh God!
I mean, this match is probably the one I'm least looking forward to. That or the King Corbin Elias match.
Well, it's got to be the women's one out of those two, though, hasn't it?
They're about.
Well, it's got to be, hasn't it? No,
I don't know.
No.
I like Sasha Banks.
What do you mean?
Which one am I looking forward to the least out of the two?
Well, you said they're on par. How can they possibly be on par with each other? They're not equal. So what are you talking about?
Oh, I see. Of course, because they're women in one match. I forget. Of course.
You see, I can cope with a little bit of political correctness every now and again, but this show just goes overboard with it, doesn't it?
Right, the political correctness just for saying that women deserve a match at WrestleMania. Is that correct?
Women deserve a match at WrestleMania. On what basis do they deserve a match at WrestleMania or anywhere else?
Do you not feel that they're doing a match here at WrestleMania? All the hard work that Tamina has been over the last year?
Well, hard work. Have you seen their matches? Have you actually sat down and watched these things? In my day, these things were known as the toilet break.
And speaking of toilet breaks, whilst you're arguing, I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys.
Do you know what? That's not in your contract either.
What I'll do, whilst he's in the loop, I'll move on to the next match and give him time to come back. We've got another women's match. We've got Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's. For me, that's a continuation of the Ronda Rousey sort of feud. Are we going to get Ronda Rousey on Raw? Or I think the plan was to bring Ronda Rousey in at this point, either at Mania or the Raw after. But because of this whole quarantine, that might not be the case. But because Shayna was standing tall on Raw. That normally means you're losing at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that formula kind of means Becky might be retaining. I think this is all coming to a Ronda Rousey return personally. What do you think, James?
Yeah, Rousey will return, but I don't know. I've got a feeling Shayna will win.
Think.
Yeah, I think that they're more better than now.
I'm stuck. I keep changing my mind.
Yeah, I don't. That's not my opinion. I think Becky Lynch is amazing, but I think WWE will probably. They usually only have things going for like a year, 18 months, and then they move on to something else. So it's kind of. I think that's her time up now, unfortunately. But Shayna will win, and they'll do something with her for a bit.
Yeah. Kendall, we're talking about Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just caught the last bit of what James was saying there, and as much as I agree on normal circumstances, I think, and it's the and as horrible, like as harsh as this is, as talented as Becky is, she's in a relationship with WWE's top guy, so she's going to be up at the top. We saw it with John Cena and Nikki Bella, like she was at the top while she was with Cena, and I think it'll sort of be the same. I think. Becky Lynch will always be around the top. Like she's an incredible wrestler. Don't get us wrong. I'm not for 1 second saying she's only where she is because she's with Seth Rollins, because she was already there.
She is.
She was already there before they got together. But her longevity at the top, because as James said, WWE will only go so far with someone and then give it to someone else. I think her longevity at the top has been a mixture between her talent and because of who she's with. It's the same with Andrade and Charlotte. Andrade is only getting this long. It's in reverse sort of with Andrade. Andrade is only getting the push because of who he's with. But I think it'll be a good match. But personally, I've never been a fan of Shayna Baszler. I just can't like get into her and into her style. I get she's an ex-UFC fighter. And
well,
that sort
to be honest, I mean, I know what I've said about women wrestlers, but I think she is very good because she is very close to being a man. Actually, looking at her and everything like that, so I think she is very good. Well, she's almost a man, so you can see where I'm coming from in there, can't you? Quite the talent.
I think I can see where he's coming from. He's saying he likes his women almost men.
Yeah.
Not saying anything of the sort. You know what?
You like your women like you like
ice.
your men.
No, you are on thin ice. You.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Right,
really are.
Let's please. A match that is one that I think we're probably all looking forward to. Edge and Randy Orton in a last man standing match. Guys, this is like a dream match, isn't it? What are we thinking? We'll start with you, Dennis. What are your thoughts on this match?
Orton.
Yeah, you think
Orton's
going over?
Do I think he's going to win? Is that what you're asking? Going over? What kind of talk's that?
Well,
do I think he's going to win? Yes, I think he's going to win. Yes.
What are your thoughts, James?
I don't know. I can see them two having a feud for a while, like for a few pay-per-views. I think this could just be the start of them feuding, or it'll be, if it's the end, I think they'll end up being a tag team again.
Oh, right, okay. And there'll be like a swerve, they'll end up making up and being friends.
Yeah, but it'll be a hell of a match.
Yeah,
really
I think it's going to be violent. I'm thinking like Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler, or The Rock versus Mankind, these empty arena matches. Yeah. I could see them maybe, chucking him off the... Maybe this is the big spot you were talking about before with the camera trickery, throwing him off the balcony, hitting him with the chairs in the arena, like how Big Show threw Cena into the lights that time and they exploded.
There's going to be a big moment. Yeah,
I think there's going to be a few crazy stunts. Last year, like you mentioned earlier, Miz throwing Shane, or vice versa, off that.
It was a suplex, wasn't it, off the top of the... Yeah.
They both went off of it, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they both went over, yeah.
But, this is a blood feud. I've loved the build. I've loved the dialogue. The dialogue between the characters, the interaction between the characters. Damien, what about you? What are you thinking?
I think this is going to be the one where we get the stunts and the sort of the match of big moments, so to speak, and the rest of it. I'm not quite sure I'm not sure where they're going to take this. I've got this feeling that we may get a cameo from Beth Phoenix, as she's already been involved in the feud at some point. But
Christian maybe.
Sorry.
Could we see Christian make a run in?
That's
I think
potential
so.
for that. Yeah,
I hope so.
I would hope so. It'd be nice to see him get something sort of good and positive, as opposed to being stuck on the kickoff panel with Booker T's rambling nonsense and.
Liam, what are your thoughts on this match? Like Edge and Randy Orton, last man standing. It's going to be violent. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this would be one that would benefit from the crowd being there, because this was the one I think the crowd would get on top of the most and keep it going.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is the one where the big stunts will happen, because obviously if things are to be believed, the other two stipulation matches are going to be cinematic and not really in the arena. So I think it'll be really good. And for me going forward, because I know Edge's contract is only 3 matches per year, but he signed up for 5 this year, so I think he'll have a couple. He'll have a couple with I think he'll have a couple with Orton. I think it'll end, and then it'll be interesting. But I think as well he gets to pick his opponents. Sort of, it's one of those. It's one of those Taker style contracts where he gets to choose who he feuds with. And I think with Edge is because he's got so much personal history with Orton and he trusts Orton. Who better to be your first opponent back from a lengthy layoff through injury than someone you trust to keep you safe in there?
The Revival were training Edge to get back in shape.
He's in the best shape he's ever been in after 10 years out of the ring.
He's got a shredded, didn't he?
Mad,
just needs a bit of he just needs a bit of dye in that beard and hair, and then we'll.
I kind of like the greyness. I mean, I know he's cut his hair a little bit since January, but still long. But that kind of like old man Logan kind of look, where he's sort of old, rugged, John Wayne kind of character, where he is going a bit grey and he's got crow's feet. He just looks a bit more like he's been through the wars. I'm into Edge.
I've got Edge to win as well. I think Edge will win.
I think most of them except Dennis. I think. But
do you think he? I mean, I can't imagine them asking him to change it. But I mean, actually, with Roman off the card, it might not make might not matter as much, because I was thinking, if Edge is over, would they let him end it with a spear, multiple spears? Because obviously the potential main event, both of their finishers are spears.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you said that, because to me, Edge, out of everyone, has always, in my opinion, done the weakest spear. It always looks like a bit of a cuddle, like he's hugging them, compared to Reigns, Lashley, Rhino, Goldberg, that really slice people in half. But Edge has got so many moves that he does. He's got Edge-O-Matic, Execution. He's got the Impaler. He used to do the Downward Spiral. Those are 5 finishing moves that he's had since the year 1998.
But then he stopped using all of those in favour of the spear. But Goldberg's spear is just the setup for the jackhammer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine Goldberg getting blown up for a jackhammer somehow. I saw him try to lift Bray in Saudi.
So I can see him trying. He's going to drop him on his head, isn't he? Do you know that like crazy one that he did to the Undertaker, where he had him up and then brain busted by mistake?
Well, it's the same. It's either going to be that or he just couldn't lift Bray.
I mean, that was basically a Steiner screwdriver, wasn't it? I think that he dropped their Taker with. It was essentially just a screwdriver. It was.
Nasty Dave.
Hold on, you're drinking again. Hold on, you're drinking again.
I mean, you were asleep there. You were asleep.
I wasn't asleep. Cup up.
But he wasn't.
Come on, you know the terms of your contract. Turn it round. Turn it round. Let's have a look. No, it was empty the last time as well. That's funny, isn't it? Let's have a look at the bottom. Let's have a look at the bottom. The other bottom. The other side.
It's got coffee in. I'm drinking it slowly. Anyway. anyway.
You mentioned earlier about this is going to be violent because they've got the whole arena to themselves.
You do look very
Yeah,
drunk there. Sorry, no, sorry, you can be quiet a second. You do look very bleary-eyed, I should say.
Your camera's just really blurry, so...
No, it's just my natural face.
Blurry.
Were you one of those police protection things to protect your identity?
That's exactly what I am.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. So Lucas, I think it's going to be violent because they've
You're
got the
fired,
whole
by the way.
arena themselves. They've got the whole arena to themselves, and they've built on that personal history between them, like the friendship and
Big time.
and all,
It's a proper
all of that.
Wrestlemania
So.
feud, isn't it?
And then obviously Orton with his promo to Beth Phoenix saying he only tried to re-injure him to save him and allow him to be a better father and stuff like that.
Different dynamics to that feud. I'm into it. I'm into that conflicted lunatic Randy Orton that we know from the past. Now, a lot of these matches are rumoured to be filmed elsewhere, cinematic, Final Deletion style, Compound, House of Horrors style match, almost like a Lucha Underground feel where it's cinematic. Boneyard match, guys. My personal dream match from 2002. I've always wanted to see this match. AJ Styles versus The Undertaker. I am so invested in this feud, a match I've always wanted to see. James, what are you thinking about this?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of both. I love AJ, but I don't know. I don't know if they're just using The Undertaker more and more, and it's destroying his character more and more. I don't know. I'm a strong believer in letting the guy retire peacefully and not bringing him out every 3 months for a match against someone for the crack.
I'd see him just carry on until he's 90. I know what you mean.
It's up to Taker who he faces, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's Taker's choice
the
to come out.
Goldberg match was horrific, but
I think that was one of the only ones that wasn't particularly his choice, but it was a big Saudi payday, wasn't it?
yeah.
Big time. But I mentioned about a year ago when we were talking about the build to WrestleMania 35, how they're going to be peeling back the curtain of The Undertaker, making more references to him being on social media, him doing candid interviews, all these different things, which have gradually happened. I said that maybe by 18 months' time he'd be Mark The Undertaker Calloway on TV or something a bit like that. I'd actually forgotten that I made that comment, or someone reminded me recently on air last year. I made this comment. It's only taken them a year, because this week on SmackDown, he was still the Dead Man, but he was more Mark Calloway with hints of American Badass, hints of Big Evil in there as well. We've just got this kind of meshing of American Badass, Big Evil, Mark Calloway. What do you guys think about this tweak of the Undertaker gimmick?
I said this last week. I was saying people were saying he's going back to Big Evil, but apparently he wants a new gimmick that's a mixture of all of his other characters plus a bit of personal touch of Mark Calloway to sort of prolong his career and give him a little bit more longevity. But at the same time, I'm with James. I feel like they should have just let him go off into the sunset and just that be that.
I think it's Survivor Series this year, with it being 30 years of The Undertaker. He'll announce there that WrestleMania 37 is going to be his last match, and I think that is going to be his final match. But hopefully, I want him to put over Aleister Black. That's just my dream match, but it could be anybody. Dennis Donovan, what are you thinking about the Boneyard match? What is it? What is a Boneyard match? What are you thinking about the build?
No idea what a Boneyard match is. Do you want to explain that?
Well, you know as much as us. From what we gather, it's a mix. It's a buried alive match from what we gather, but in a graveyard, a bit like we had Sting and Vampiro in a few years ago, 20 years ago. That kind of.
I'll tell you what I'm a little bit confused about. I'm not going to give you any opinions on the match. I don't really care. But I'll tell you, it's talk of gimmicks. What do you mean by gimmicks?
By gimmick, we mean the gimmick of the match, you mean, sorry, or what I would say, or with The Undertaker, just that different persona that The Undertaker has taken upon himself. Over a long period of time, you can sort of put him in the Mortician, in the Dead Man, the Ministry, the American Badass. People like to clump The Undertaker into different versions of himself that he's represented on screen. That's all we mean by that, Dennis.
Sort of like when you're going through a phase of something, you know, like
I forgot you were there.
Like I mean, if you suddenly started wearing a blue tie for a few years, and then went back to a red one, you know, like that.
Well, actually, funny enough, I was toying with the idea of a black tie, but then it looked a bit too funereal, I thought, so I didn't bother with that. No, so I'm sticking with the red. I think it's good, and now that doesn't constitute in your terminology a gimmick, does it?
If there was something different to
what you're saying is
compare
that
it
the
to,
Undertaker changes his hat. That's a gimmick, is it?
He also sort of adapts the way he acts and his mannerisms with it as well. You know, like it's sort of a slightly different attitude, because that's sort of temporary.
The way you talk, the way you want to talk, and you talk like wrestling is some kind of pantomime, some kind of film, some kind of. It's not. It's real life. I don't know what you.
I'm aware of that. I was saying is it's like, I mean, sometimes you go into a particular set of fights with a certain attitude. Sometimes you go into, it's like the difference between someone in work and someone out of work. Like you know, it's like when you know the kind of person you are when you're behind your desk, and the kind of person you are when you're sort of at home kicking back and chilling out with Vivaldi in your ears or something. You know, it's like you know, it's sort of like it's like that different mindset and being able to switch between them. It's essentially just a terminology for that, as far as I'm aware.
I'm with you on that. Damien, what about the match itself? What are you feeling about this boneyard? What are your thoughts on it?
It's in a graveyard. Absolutely anything can happen. I'm just again. I'm going into this one with a completely open mind. I've got no expectations because I don't know what they're going to pull out of the bag. The only point of reference I've got for a graveyard match is that Sting and Vampire Robo, and I don't think they've been in touch with the old Torborg, so I don't think we're going to get the Kiss Demon randomly making an appearance, you know. But I think, I mean, I'm just going in there with a completely open mind to it. Whatever they do, it's either going to be something where I'm going to enjoy it, not enjoy it, or not enjoy it to the point where it's actually like good again, if you know what I mean. It's either going to be really good, really bad, or really, really bad, and to so bad that it's good again. You know, I
think you're not going to be talking about it either as one of the best or the worst WrestleMania matches of all time. Yeah. I just really hope it's the former and not the latter. Another match which is meant to be gimmicky. At the minute, it's a singles match, but there has been an open challenge from Bray Wyatt to be a Firefly Funhouse match. Cena hasn't answered this yet. He's going to do so on SmackDown on Friday. He's probably going to say yes. Firefly Funhouse match. The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. I really wanted that to have been for the championship with the extra layer of Cena chasing to break Flair's record.
Yeah.
But we've still got a great story going in. We've got a lot of investment between the characters, a lot of backstory, a lot of layers between the characters. This could be another wacky, crazy match with Bray and The Fiend, and who knows who else. Liam, we'll start with you. What are you thinking about this match?
I think Bray's going to win. I think that will happen. I'm looking forward to it, especially with cinematic. I referenced earlier, I think Bo could get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow. That would be nice to see, but I think it'll be good. And I think Cena's close to calling it a day now.
Yeah.
And I'm
once or twice a year, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. He's obviously on doing movies now, but I feel like for all he's done for WWE over the years, I've always been a fan of Cena. I personally feel like he should beat Flair's record, because currently they've got two guys on par with each other. And I'd like to see Cena beat Flair's record before he calls it a day. And maybe that's how he could retire, like not on top, but he could lose the title to WWE's next top guy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of passing the torch. Proven formula with that. I have heard Cena doesn't want to be world champion again for a long time because it involves a lot of media appearances, wrestling house shows, blah 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 blah. I'm really, really worried John Cena's going to win this. Obviously, I want the Fiend to win, and deep down, I think the Fiend is going to win. I'm just really worried WWE are going to do the wrong thing again and make Cena win just to annoy everybody. What do you think, James?
Yeah, definitely. What they did with the Fiend against Lesnar was just like pointless, so pointless. Not Lesnar, sorry, Goldberg. It was so pointless.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah.
And since then, it's kind of everyone knows he can be beaten now, so that's a way of letting Cena get the win. But what motivation does a wrestler that turns up once a year need? None, really.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Push more than Cena. Definitely.
Dennis, what do you think about this match?
Oh, right. Well, I have been taking notice this time. And, yeah, Cena on the way for this one, I think.
What's that, sorry?
John Cena, I want him to win, and I think he will win.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Why is that interesting choice?
Well,
why? Because it annoys you.
The reason why
That's
it's
the only reason.
No,
because it annoys you.
Is because
John. Does.
No, not at all. Far from it.
I thought you guys had
tell
made
by the
up.
tone in your voice. What?
I thought you guys had shook hands and made up.
I thought we had.
It's not as contentious as it used to be, but I'm never going to be his friend.
Getting his knickers in the twist.
I mean, he did accuse me at one point of slashing his tyres. That's not been forgotten. I mean, we can forgive these things, of course. I'm a better man than him, and I can rise above it. But he did accuse me of all kinds, and, that hasn't been forgotten, and maybe one day it might come back to bite him in the derriere.
Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for. But yeah, the reason for that is because obviously Cena won the last match, and it was a lot of people believe that's what set Bray Wyatt off on a bad path in his career, losing, jobbing quite a lot. He'd been built up just to become another guy for Cena to squash at WrestleMania. This feels like it could be a big redemption of that to get himself back on track. That's why it's a little bit of a controversial opinion. That's why I was wondering, what makes you want to go with Cena in this? Why is he your pick?
Are you still talking to me?
I am.
Well, because I told you why. Well, because it annoys you.
Oh, you picked it just to annoy me. That's a shame.
Yes.
That hasn't worked for me because it hasn't.
Oh, it has. I can tell by the tone in your voice and the expression on your face. Oh, it annoys you, all right.
I like what you mentioned there, though, Lucas, about the Cena winning at WrestleMania 30 and setting him off on the bad path, because they've referenced that in the build-up to this feud as well.
Yeah,
it's not
good. Yeah.
So
a lot of the times the fans have to put these pieces together themselves because WWE either won't mention it or are scared to mention it, but they have gone out and referenced the past for once. They kind of want you to forget everything normally, but they've referenced what's happened before, the feud they've had before. I'm really into it. I was into the feud the first time, and I'm more into it this time around.
I just hope they don't have those ridiculous red lights.
Oh, I hate that. That ruined it for me.
I think they're great. I think they're
like
great.
Red lights?
Yeah, it's very dramatic, isn't it? I mean, it's something different. It's something fresh. Not fresh, but it's something. I like it. I like it very much. And do you know why? Because it annoys you.
The light annoys me, or the fact you like it annoys me?
Both.
So the fact you like it doesn't annoy me, but the red lights do annoy me. Yes, they do. You're right in saying that, Dennis. They do get on my nerves because I like to be able to see the wrestling as well as hear it. But either or. What are we thinking about Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair? James,
hold on. Where's he gone?
He's just turned his camera off.
He's just turned. Well, he knows for a fact. Well, there you go. What are you doing when you? Yeah, we know what you're doing. You're topping yourself up, aren't you?
It's still empty.
Is it? So you've got two, haven't you? One's empty, one's not. Yeah.
I mean, you've turned your camera off multiple times tonight.
Because I've been sending messages to people. None of your concern. You're not even in the dynasty anymore. Might rehire you actually. You're an alright talent. I might rehire you.
He's been doing shots, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
yeah, I'll bet you. Yes,
I've got to. Oh no.
Picking his nose.
you got me
Right.
into quite.
That's
somewhat
no.
the other
See,
week,
see,
but
Lucas. That's exactly what I was doing. No. So I want Rhea Ripley to win. I've never been a fan of Charlotte Flair, and that's all.
Okay.
That's all I'll say on the matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of Charlotte. I don't know what it is. I thought she was gonna just be, I'm Ric Flair's daughter and that's it. But I think she's got her own character, and she is good. You can put a title on her, and no one will whinge, kind of thing. But yeah, Rhea Ripley is good.
Every time I see Charlotte Flair, she's had some different form of work done. She just looks different every time I see her.
She looks great. I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
though.
She looked
you
good
think
originally, though. She looked natural.
Yeah, I think she looks great now the way she is. I think she looks
Yeah.
brilliant. But I mean, what I would say is, do we see her with that NXT championship on Wednesday nights? Do we see Charlotte Flair going back to NXT, being a 2-time women's champion on NXT? Is that going to be a regular thing? Or
I mean,
is
Finn
Rhea
went
Ripley
back to NXT.
Because that's a big thing for Rhea Ripley to beat Charlotte Flair. I think you could get Rhea Ripley over in defeat. Do you know what I mean? You could have a brilliant match, go hell for leather, have a barn burner of a match, and Charlotte Flair just win by the skin of her teeth. That way you can keep both looking strong moving forward. Because
I think regardless of what happens, Rhea Ripley will turn up on the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah, good point.
I think, yeah. I don't know whether Charlotte might go over and Rhea win it back straight away the next night. For shock factor, but I can't see Charlotte going back to NXT full time because of her relationship with Andrade and the traveling and stuff. Because you often see wrestling couples on the same brand, so they can travel.
These days, you do now. But the thing is, Charlotte wanted a big push. She wanted a Royal Rumble victory and a big WrestleMania match. That was something she was kicking off about backstage, allegedly. So for her then to get the WrestleMania match and lose, I can't imagine that being what she was pitching for. Yet at the same time, do we see her going to NXT for a long period? I don't see that either. So there are two situations which I don't really see happening. But one of them's got to, which kind of adds this weird thing into this.
I mean,
Damien,
Finn went back to NXT.
Yeah, and he's been great.
So
Kind of not really a heel anymore, is he? He's like weird tweener heel baby face Finn, but he is what he is. Damien, what are you thinking about Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, mate? You've been quiet for a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Apologies for that. I had some incoming issues to deal with there from other communications devices. I do apologise. With regards to the Rhea Ripley match, I really want to see Rhea take this. Charlotte Flair is absolutely fantastic, and I've got nothing at all against her, but I've got nothing for her either. You know, I've got like no sort of investment in her apart from being someone for people that I kind of care about to chase and to take the title off her. If you know what I mean, it's just like she's kind of like the hook that the brass rings on. If you know what I mean, it's like, you know, I want to see like basically anyone else get that get the victory over her. And it's entertaining to watch, and it wouldn't be as entertaining if it was someone that I was invested in any sort of way, shape or form. I mean, Rhea Ripley, perfect candidate, and I really do want to see I do want to see her go over. Whether she does or not is another matter.
A match we've already kind of spoken about, and it's probably going to be the match that closes the show, unfortunately. But it was Goldberg and Roman Reigns, but as we know, Roman Reigns, he said he's not going to be there. He wasn't there for the taping. It's heavily implied or heavily rumoured online that it was Braun Strowman that's replaced him. What are we thinking about this? We've already said I'm not looking forward to it. I'm worried about if he can lift him up for a jackhammer. I mean, you don't want to keep the belt on Goldberg any longer.
No.
But do you want this to be Strowman wins the title? Do you want Strowman as the champion? Is he one of the boys? I don't know. I'm not that invested because we're literally going to have 12 hours worth of build when they make the announcement to when WrestleMania starts. Friday night, Saturday night, isn't it? So we've got like what, 24 hours
Unless it's on the second day.
Yeah, which it will be because it'll close the show. Yeah, so yeah, you're right.
I think there's a
Yeah.
chance it's going to be a comeback from someone. So like a shock entry into the match. I don't know.
Sting.
Lars Sullivan. Why
Oh,
not?
yeah,
Why
that's a
not?
great.
Good call.
Have him demolish Goldberg, then have a standoff with Strowman afterwards.
I feel like whoever wins, everybody online's gonna say, "Oh, they only won because Roman wasn't there."
Definitely.
I feel like it's sort of a lose. Whoever it's if winning a title, especially the biggest title in the company, is usually the best thing you can do for your career. But I feel like whoever wins it's going to be in a lose-lose situation. Because one, it's going to be said they've only won it because Reigns isn't there, and then two, as soon as Reigns comes back, I can just see them dropping it to Reigns straight away.
Yeah, they
'Cause
just
Reigns
gonna carry it on with.
Because Reigns hasn't had a main event run for a couple of years now, has he really?
That's by
When you think
design,
about
though,
it?
isn't it? They're doing that to toy with us. But this is that ham-fisted thing they've been doing now, where they've needed Reigns to leave Mania with the title, so they shoehorned it onto Goldberg so they could have the Goldberg-Reigns match. Reigns leaves WrestleMania with the title. When what they should have done is left it on the Fiend, like we said earlier, to have that big Fiend Cena match for the title. Because they were so obsessed with Reigns leaving WrestleMania with the title, something completely unforeseen has happened, something that Vince McMahon hates, things out of your control, illness, being told what to do. It's like Vince McMahon's nightmare has happened, and it means now Roman Reigns isn't going to be leaving WrestleMania with the title after all. So now we're left with the scraps, and the scraps is like Goldberg and Strowman.
And I feel
This-
because Reigns isn't there now, that McIntyre Lesnar will close the show.
I hope it does.
I-
That's your
I
money
feel-
match to me.
Because it was always going to be
Reigns
standing tall at the end of the night, but because Reigns isn't there anymore, I think
They need-
they'll toy around with it and
I agree. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that until you said that then, but common sense should be that your money match now, your Drew, your Brock, closes the show. Dennis, what do you think of Goldberg and Reigns?
Not much.
Or Strowman?
Not much. I'm not a fan of Goldberg in the slightest. Never have been. Because of what he did to Bret Hart, he ended his career. He's completely dangerous in the ring. He shouldn't be anywhere near a wrestling ring. The man is little more than scum. But what do I think of the match? Well, the match isn't going to happen, is it? So it's going to be Strowman apparently, and
Yeah.
well, yeah. Well, that doesn't do anything for me either, to be honest with you. It doesn't.
No.
And I don't think that. Look, if that happens, if that does go ahead, I think you're looking at Goldberg, unfortunately, walking out of WrestleMania with the title.
who do you think should replace Reigns?
Who do I think should replace Reigns?
Yeah.
Well, before your antics tonight, I could have possibly said you. Mr. Tim Strange, Louis Hanlon.
What about you, James? Who would you have picked?
Jeff Hardy all the way.
Jeff Hardy.
I don't know
Good call.
why. I love Jeff, but to be fair, they could chuck CM Punk in there and get him to beat Goldberg. They could do a few things that I
They
would
could.
kind of be a bit chuffed about. But
He's a favourite,
don't-
isn't he?
I'm-
CM Punk?
I'm with Dennis. I don't really like Goldberg. Never have. I think he just hurts people badly.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that, to be honest. Yeah,
Oh God, have I said something that you agree with?
you say
Just
lots
about
of things.
first one of the night, and we're at the end of the show. So
He says lots of things I agree with. Just don't give the gratification of
I've let myself
telling
down.
you. Damien, what about yourself? Goldberg, Strowman, who would you have picked as the replacement?
I think. I mean, I might be sort of harking back to something that I've seen in earlier years here. I reckon that based on the result of the McIntyre Lesnar match, we get a strapless Lesnar comes out takes the spot and then takes the title off Goldberg.
Oh no!
So that
At
way
least it gets him back over to SmackDown where he belongs.
Yeah, it still means Lesnar's a champion, just a different champion. Show
That's
ends
like-
with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar Hands held high.
Liam, who would you have picked
Uh, Samoa Joe. I'm a big fan of Samoa Joe.
Goldberg? That could be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Or have a surprise comeback. Just something for nostalgia, like a legend or someone returning.
Like an old school, someone coming back from the past.
Yeah. Like Sting. I've always been a big fan of Sting, and it ended on unfinished business for Sting.
I would love to see that match, but at their age, in their state, like 55-year-old Goldberg versus 60-year-old Sting, I'm not sure if I'll put that as my main event at WrestleMania.
Quite ageist, if you don't mind us saying that.
I wouldn't have it as main event, but I've always been a fan of Sting, and I thought even in his later years, although he'd slowed down, like he could still go.
Definitely.
Like his match against Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Was it 31? Yeah, WrestleMania 31. That was really good.
No, it's good. I enjoy Sting's later work.
Kendall, can I just say, I'm very proud of you not being ageist there. You rehired.
Thank you.
You're back. You're back in the dynasty.
Okay.
Ageist.
Lucas, you're going to hang your head in shame.
Being prejudiced.
I'm not being ageist. I've often said on air I like the older guys. I like watching Jerry Lawler, Greg Valentine wrestle, Demolition wrestle. I'm a fan of these guys going out in the 70s and wrestling. I'm a big fan of that. So I'm certainly not ageist. I'm just thinking your main event, knowing what Goldberg is.
You certainly sound ageist.
No,
for somebody that's pushing 30, I'm quite disgusted with what you're saying.
You're pushing 30.
30, that's right.
Were you not born in 1970?
What, that would make me nearly 50, you cheeky. I'm not going to say the word.
It's alright, it's got to go through an audio edit. I could always just stick the tone in instead.
God for that.
But Dennis wouldn't lower himself to them standards, would you, Dennis? I'm on your side now.
No, well, of course I would lower myself to his standards. But that's what you're talking about.
The other aforementioned match, probably going to be your main event. Brock Lesnar putting the title on the line, the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. For me, this one, I was hell-bent on Drew McIntyre winning, being the first British WWE champion. I think the writing was on the wall. It's obviously Drew winning, but with there being no crowd, you almost want that coronation crowning moment to be in front of an audience. Would WWE have Lesnar cheat to win, and then Drew gets his rematch in front of the crowd, maybe at SummerSlam, Survivor Series, whenever it is, we're back in front of an audience, and hold off that great big confetti special moment until there's a crowd there? What would you do, Liam? What are you thinking?
I feel like they could do that as if they did it tactically and didn't kill Drew's momentum, because obviously they turned him discreetly, like really subtly turned him face in the build-up to the Royal Rumble. He won the Royal Rumble, and then he's been releasing these really amazing cinematic style promo videos. I feel like the worst thing they could do is have Lesnar win. I feel like Drew, he was the chosen one back in the day. I feel like he should win, but as you just said, I feel like it would mean a lot more and look a lot better if he had it in front of a crowd.
I completely. I mean, the plan was always, I think, for Drew to win, but now I just think without the audience, that might have put a spanner in the works for the plan. James, what about yourself? Where do you think they're going? What are your predictions? What are your thoughts about this?
I'm exactly the same as you about the crowd situation, because if you look at previous WrestleManias, Daniel Bryan with the confetti in the crowd, and then you've got Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit doing it, and it's that momentum that gets a wrestler through that match, and I don't want Drew to miss that, really.
No, I'm with you on that. I want Drew to win so badly, but this has just changed my perspective. Let's have him win, just not right now. Maybe just do it in 2-3 months' time when we've got the big eruption of the audience. Dennis, what do you think?
Sorry, what do I think of what? I'm sorry, I'm zoned out again. What?
Of Drew McIntyre and Brock.
Oh, right. Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win?
Yes, who do you want to win?
I could go with either, really. I could justify either.
Well, who do you want to win?
I don't know, because it depends. Because with the audience,
And I don't know either.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably say I want Brock to win, just so Drew can get his crowning moment in a few weeks or months' time when we've got a crowd back again. What do you think?
That doesn't really allow me anywhere to go. Right. Okay. Well, I'll say Brock as well. There we go. I'll say that as well. I'll say I want him to win at SummerSlam as well if that does pan out.
James, any other thoughts on the match?
What's that fascinated of?
It's more of what I said before. Kind of, I don't want Brock really holding the title, but he has been good. I'm not gonna lie, Brock has been quite funny in recent weeks as well. That bit with R-Truth that he did was hilarious. We need more Lesnar's personality, I think.
Do you know Brock's actually pitched for more segments with R-Truth because it was Brock who asked for that segment, and Brock's asked for more.
Oh my God! Imagine a feud between Truth and Brock for the 24/7 title. It would be amazing.
That would be absolute gold. That like.
What about you, Damien? Who's winning the match out of Brock and Drew?
As I say, I've genuinely got this sort of stuck firmly in my head that they're going to put that Drew's going to take the title, and then that's how they're going to get out of the Goldberg Reigns situation the next night. It's
it's probably the most logical way to do things, isn't it? Really.
It's like I've sort of convinced myself that that's what's going to happen. I kind of sort of say it, and I feel sorry for Drew that he is going to get his crowning moment in front of nobody, that in front of no fans. But it's I mean they could give him that moment in front of the fans when they've got an idea of when they're going to start having shows in front of people again. By sort of switching the belt off him later on, and having him win it back at like the first live event with a crowd again.
Could they not have it? Could they not have it where The Rock comes back just to represent Roman Reigns for one match, and then gives Reigns the title after he's beat Goldberg?
Or not even give Reigns the title. Just have Rock versus Reigns.
Just have the Rock, Rock v Reigns. That would be quite good, actually.
It would, I mean, I would love to see that. That'd be
That's a WrestleMania main event, isn't it? Rock versus Reigns.
Absolutely. But then, which one of them's heel? Like, which one of them's the bad guy?
Well, I think if Reigns, whatever happens, the fans are booing Reigns over the
Rock.
Rock.
Definitely.
You could turn the Rock heel, but the fans are still gonna.
Well, they tried, didn't they, multiple times?
Yeah. The fans will always cheer the Rock and boo Roman Reigns, won't they?
I mean, except for that Royal Rumble where the Rock came out to try and
boost Yeah, the Rock looked so confused as to what was happening. Yeah. Like he was like, "What? Why are they booing?"
Did look a bit perplexed, didn't he? So yeah, that's WrestleMania 36.
As it stands at the time of broadcast,
it's going to be long.
It's going to be long. It's going to be 8 matches over 8 matches a day, 16 matches all in all. It's going to be a hard work. It's going to be a slog. But they might pull it out the bag.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's there's.
I think they always pull it out the bag.
I mean, at least we've got an interval with this one. It's at least it's not like sort of the 16 matches straight through and then sort of a case of like the last match finishes and your alarm's going off to get up for work. You know what I mean? It's
It's going to be
last
weird.
year's WrestleMania, I was just thinking, is it finished yet? Is it the last match yet? Because I really, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but it was so long, so long.
Me too. Neil, I watched mine with Neil. He came around to mine to watch it, and it was after the Kofi Kingston Daniel Bryan match that he started to like put his shoes on and get his jacket and say how tired he was and glad it was over. I was like, dude, we're literally not even halfway through the show yet. It's like, oh my god, and it was like, it was painful. I've rewatched the main event, the Triple Threat Women's match from last year, and it was a brilliant Triple Threat Women's match. It was a great match. At the time, I just couldn't wait for it to be over.
You probably
so
got
tired.
tired, you didn't pay attention. Yeah.
I think that's been the problem. I feel like that's been the problem with Mania in recent years. There's feuds that are lesser feuds that are sort of like SummerSlam level feuds or Survivor Series level feuds that have gone on Mania, where in the past Mania was just where the top guys wrestled. Yeah.
But now everybody has to get an appearance now. But there was me thinking, God, I wish Shinsuke Nakamura was in a match. I wish Ricochet was in a match. No, wait, I don't, because it's stacked enough as it is.
Yeah. Like save a little something for the Monday after. Yeah, it's
It's going to be weird without all the celebrities. So they do the red carpet the night before with the Hall of Fame, and the buzz of Takeover being the night before. You've got all the famous people in the crowd. You've got all the Hall of Fame legends coming out, and got all the guys.
I still feel like they'll have a few pre-recorded cameos, even if it's via satellite.
Yeah, they might have satellite ones. That's the only thing I can think is satellite. Maybe The Rock from his own or something like that.
Unless they just turn up at like Ric Flair's house and knock on his door. Camera straight in his face.
It's Mick Foley's house we want to see.
Speaking of that, is there anything that isn't at WrestleMania this year? A match or a feud or a celebrity or appearance or anything that you really wanted that we're not getting? Is there anything that you feel jaded by that we haven't got?
Not offhand, really. I mean, apart from the sort of fan atmosphere, but that's not really their fault. You know what I mean? It's it's
No, it's the Chinese's fault, isn't it?
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Let's see.
Yeah, so WrestleMania 36, it's already in the can. We're wondering what's going to happen. But really, it's what has happened, because obviously it's already been filmed. So whatever happens has happened.
They're doing well not to get it leaked, though.
Very well. I've seen links saying contains spoilers. I've just not clicked on them. I think the dirt sheets have been quite.
I've seen them
Gracious.
all. So what happens is.
Oh,
Do you wanna know?
Dennis. No, it's okay.
What?
We'll save it for next time. It's okay.
Save the review,
I
sir.
offered. Nice little exclusive. But...
No, it's quite alright. We'll discuss it in next week's episode. The only other bit of news really is that NXT TakeOver, the matches are going to be spread out over the next few weeks as opposed to being a postponed show. It's going to be, we're going to get those matches week to week. So interesting time.
And the NXT UK takeover that was set to take place fairly shortly has now been moved to October, I believe.
Is that Walter and Finn Balor are getting there? Or?
Quite possibly. I think unless things move on away from the current position of things, I think we are gonna get that. But then again, I don't know how the NXT UK brand itself is going to handle this situation, because our sort of restrictions are very different to the ones that are happening in the States. So essentially, whatever taping's on already in the can, we don't know how far they can advance anything until congregations of more than two are there to sort of able to take place again.
A couple of things I wanted to mention about, obviously, I wanted to plug, we've got our social media. I'll start with, first of all, on Facebook, I'm counting down my top 100 greatest world champions. I've doing one a day, so obviously today number 100 was Bobby Roode. I'm doing for the next 100 days a champion a day. I'm doing them in order that I ranked them in. So when they'll go through. I personally think Bobby Roode is the 100th greatest world champion ever, and we'll go through all the way up until number 1 over the next 100 days. But also,
Who's your number 1?
Oh, you'll find out. You'll find out in 100
What, in
days.
100 days? Oh,
You know who?
gripping stuff. What?
What are you on about?
I don't really know anymore. I think I've got cabin fever.
You got cabin fever. You got scarlet
I
fever.
think so.
Um,
Yeah, I've
also-
got coronavirus.
Yeah, I can tell from the coughing and the nose picking. We've also.
Well, look, no, there was no nose picking. Look.
Oh, guys. Also, we are going to be doing a thing where the hosts of Spanish on the Table, we're going to send each other some videos of wrestling matches. Could be famous matches like Wrestlemania matches. It could be some obscure Mexican match, and we're going to just film each other's reactions. So we're going to live react to matches that we're going to send each other. Maybe a match that you think somebody might like that they've not seen, or maybe a comedy match or a really violent match, just to get someone else's perspective and commentary on a match. On top of that, we've also launched a YouTube page as well. We haven't really had much of a presence on YouTube up until recently. I always do the videos on Facebook, which I'll continue to do. But just with YouTube being so accessible, especially now when everyone's indoors, on YouTube now, Damien, did you want to run through what's happening with our YouTube channel with listeners?
Yeah, so coming up on the YouTube channel, we have got various strands of programming. We've got the podcast itself, the radio broadcast itself, in video format, so you can see all of us as well as hear us. And we're going to have various things like reviews, event, possibly predictions, all that. But we're going to do some other bits as well. We've got a British Wrestling Showcase on the go. Thanks very much to a couple of companies who've allowed us to use their material and footage. And we're just going to keep plugging away and doing new things. That's what we intend to do. It is, however, coming up towards the end of the program, so I'm going to sign us off for today. Thanks very much to Liam, to Dennis, to Lucas, and to James. And we'll be back here next week at 8 p.m. As we say, you can find us on the social medias on Facebook and Twitter by looking for Announce Spanish, and you can reach us via email at SpanishAnnounceTable@protonmail.com, and we'll see you next week.